Hi guys, Chris here from USP Motorsports. Today I'm going to be going through how easy it is to flash your car using the Eurodyne power tap cable. So I'm using a test vehicle here, a 2018 RS3. Once you get your cable in the mail, it's as simple as downloading their flashing software, which is called Eurodyne Flash, which you can find at eurodyne.ca, going to the login and download section. And once you go ahead and download that, the application will look just like this. So the state I have the car in right now is I have the ignition on, all the power stuff off. So radio off, AC off, as many headlights if your car will turn off. You want to have your battery in the best state possible so it can actually flash. These flashes take anywhere from about 15 to 25 minutes. It's best if you do have a battery tender on your car. If you don't have it, it's okay. Just make sure your battery is up to standards. So I'm going to go ahead and start by going to the button that says click here to start. Now I have the cable plugged in. I also do have the ignition on, so that's important. You do have to have the ignition on, engine not running. So once I go ahead and click here to start, it's going to give me some options. It's going to say, the first one here, which is the most common one, says flash my engine ECU software from the Eurodyne server. In this particular case, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to be getting the file from their server. So once I click that, it'll go ahead and read your car's information. It'll grab your VIN number, it'll also grab the ECU number, and it will actually pinpoint as to what files are available for the car. Now this particular car is a fairly new car, and there's not that many files available for it. If you have some of the older models, maybe the Mark 6 or the Mark 7 or Mark 5, they're going to have probably a lot of different files between 91 octane, 93 octane, also low torque, high torque, different files like that. So once it opens up a file selector here, it will tell you how many credits are required to flash. It'll also tell you how many credits you have in your cable, and it'll also give you a little tree here of your ECU number showing that what files are available. For instance, this car just has a stage 1.5 available, and it has a stock mode. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to flash this to stage 1.5. Once you click that, it will then display up in the top showing you what file is loaded. And then there's this button that says download selected file in Flash ECU. So as you know, once everything is plugged in, make sure you have your laptop plugged in. You don't want anything to die, and as well as you don't want your screensaver or anything else in the background running. So you want to keep that, everything running and nothing going to sleep pretty much. So once I have everything secure, I'm going to go ahead and click download selected file in Flash ECU. It'll start doing its thing. It'll take probably about a minute or two before that box actually goes away. Right now it's connecting to the server, so you do have to have internet connection to do this. And once that goes away, we'll get a box there with a status bar showing the status of how long it's actually taking to flash. So once it does its thing, you're going to get a pop-up that says make sure ignition is on and engine is off. Obviously, earlier in the video, I told you that's the state the car is in right now. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. So you will hear a lot of beeping noises. That's normal when the flash first starts. Pretty much what that is the controller is going offline. It's losing signal with the CAN bus system in the car. So it's totally normal to hear all that flashing. It's just the ECU is going offline. So right now, the first process, it's going to erase the ECU. Once it erases the ECU, then it will flash. So you'll see a bunch of statuses going across. So like I said, this procedure typically takes about 10 to 25 minutes, 15 to 25 minutes, depending on car, of course. So just be patient, make sure everything's plugged in. Like I said earlier, no screensavers on, and make sure your computer doesn't fall asleep. If you're unsure of what your settings are, just give your mouse just a little twirl, maybe every minute or so, just to keep it awake. So that's pretty much it. We'll go ahead and we'll keep watching this, and I'll come back with you guys right when this is about to be finished. All right, so the flash is all done, the stage 1. You're going to get a pop-up that says, please turn off ignition. So I'm going to go ahead over to the car. I'm going to shut off the ignition, and I'm going to hit the button that says ignition is off. Okay, so the ignition is off. I'm going to go ahead and tell it the ignition is off. It's going to go ahead and reinitialize the ECU, and then it's going to say to turn the ignition on and come back and hit the ignition is on button. We're going to go ahead and hit ignition on. It's going to show success and then done. Now after you're done with the flash, there's one thing you need to do before you actually go to start the car and drive it. I recommend clearing all the codes. If you have a VCDS cable, better known as VAGCOM as well, you can actually go into the application section and you can flash all the codes on a CAN bus car with a click of one button. Very fast. If you don't have that, you can use the PowerTap Eurodyne cable by going into diagnostic and data logging and going through each controller and clearing out those non-communication codes. So if you want to know how to further take the vehicle from stage 1 to stock, continue watching the video, and we'll go ahead and do the same procedure, flashing it back to stock in the case where you would have to take the car to the dealership. So obviously at this point, you've already flashed to stage 1, so you already have your Eurodyne flash program on your computer. It's going to be the exact same procedure as when you flash it to stage 1, but we're just going to go ahead and select the stock file. So once we get it open, the configuration I have the car is I have the key on the on position. I do have a little bit of a long cable, typically different than what you'd be using at home, but the key is on the on position, cable is plugged in, and everything is laptop plugged in, charged, you name it. We're going to go ahead and click to start, and we're going to flash my ECU with software from the Eurodyne server. So this particular car doesn't have many files available, so it's rather easy, but some of the older cars, whether it's a Mark 6 or Mark 7, it might have multiple files on there if it's 91 or 93 octane. So we'll go ahead and wait till it does its thing. It's connected to the server, and it's going to pull up all the information of the car, and it's going to pull up a now separate box that has a file selector. It'll give you your VIN number, as well as like it did when doing the stage 1 flash, also your ECU number. It'll pop down a little tree, and it'll give you the options here to flash. Now this particular car only has 2 options available. It has the stage 1.5, and then it also has the stock mode. So right now we're going to pretend we're going to the dealership and we want to put this car back to stock so no one knows what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and select the stock mode, make sure it says stock mode up here of selected files, and we're going to download the selected file in Flash ECU. So it'll start doing its thing, connecting to the server. And once we have a data bar, and it's going to pop up and say, make sure ignition is on, engine is off. Of course, that's the state the car's in right now. Click OK. Now it's saying check in file for database, please wait. Now it's also giving you messages. There's a lot of beeps going on in the car right now, totally normal. It's going offline. And it's going to also give you messages that do not let the laptop go to sleep or the screensaver or anything like that. The laptop wants to stay functioning to where nothing is happening besides flashing. So just in case you're not sure if you have your laptop settings correct, give the mouse a little shake every minute or 30 seconds just to make sure it doesn't fall asleep on you. All right, so the stock flash is completed. Once it does complete, you're going to get a message that pops up, and it's going to say, please turn off ignition. So I'm going to go ahead to the car. I'm going to turn off the ignition. I'm going to come back, and I'll hit that ignition is off. Okay, so ignition is off. Go ahead and tell it that the ignition is off. Reinitializing, and then it'll say, please turn ignition on, and hit ignition on button. Okay, ignition is on. It's going to say success, and then done. So if you are planning on taking your car to the dealership or trading in it or whatever, after this is done, I would highly recommend clearing a lot of your codes. But make sure you do that before you take it back to the dealership. That way, no one knows anything was done to the car. That completes this video of the Eurodyne flashing back to stock and also stage 1. Thanks for watching.